you want to chat with but our Stephen A. Smith. He joins us from Vegas. Listen, Stephen A., you've covered the hype surrounding big events before. Let's say LeBron plays a huge game. Brady plays a huge game. Mayweather has a big fight. Where on that list is the night of a Conor McGregor fight?
Well, I think it's top 5 right now. When you consider who he's going up against, you're talking about a Russian nightmare. 26-0. He's not only never lost a fight, he's never lost a round. And so when you look at it from that perspective and you consider the level of vitriol and animosity that exists between the two fighters, particularly considering the difference in styles as well, there's just no question that this is going to shape up to be one of those epic matchups, because you don't know what Conor McGregor you're going to get, and you don't know what Nurmagomedov is going to be able to take. That's what makes for epic championship fights. The fact that Conor talks trash better than anybody on the planet as far as I'm concerned, combined with the fact that he's a knockout artist, combined with the fact that the last time we saw him in the UFC, he completely demolished Eddie Alvarez at Madison Square Garden. I was there. This is the first UFC fight I ever went to in my life, and I cannot tell you, him walking into the ring was comparable almost to a Mike Tyson walking into a ring. There's just no question that this is one of those top 5 matchups. It just looks that way.
Wow, that says it all. You mentioned the Alvarez fight. That's where I want to go next before we let you go. That was actually the last time he stepped into an octagon. That was almost 2 full years ago. So the effect of the layoff on McGregor, what do you think it'll be?
I have no idea. That's what makes this so interesting. If McGregor can step away and engage in striking, he's going to take this guy out inside of 2 rounds. But I don't think Nurmagomedov is going to fall prey to that. I think he's going to come in from start. He's going to be looking to take McGregor down. He's got to be an absolute fool to stand straight up and try to get in a boxing or a striking match with a Conor McGregor. If you just train to go up against Floyd Money Mayweather in a boxing ring, why would a UFC fight even think about trying to box you? That's just dumb. It's senseless. And Nurmagomedov could not have gotten to 26-0 by being stupid. I think it's going to be similar, believe it or not, Randy Couture going up against a boxer that was James Toney. Randy Couture comes into the circle, into the octagon, and the first thing he does is go low, takes James Toney down, and submits him inside of 40 seconds. That's how you beat a boxer. That's how you beat a striker in the octagon. I cannot believe that Nurmagomedov would try anything differently. Keep in mind, he said, I'm going to wear him down. I'm going to make him tired. Well, you ain't going to make him tired if you allow him to stand outside and box you. That's not going to do it. You're going to have to take him down, beat him down, and wear him down in order to register what Nurmagomedov swears he's going to register.
As Stephen A. said, all the attention here is on McGregor, but the first thing Stephen A. said, never lost a round. That's something to keep in mind. He's perfect. 26 wins, 8 submissions, 8 knockouts, 10 decisions. We'll see Stephen A. on SportsCenter and on ESPN Plus after the fight with the absolute best post-fight coverage anywhere. And that's right after it's done in Vegas. Stephen A., thanks.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
When a superstar like Conor McGregor is on the card. For more on UFC 229, let's head out to Las Vegas and bring in Ariel Helwani and Chael Sonnen, fellas.
Doug, I could not agree more with you. There is a buzz in this building that is unlike any other. We are rapidly approaching the most anticipated fight in UFC history, Chael. Let's start with the champion, Khabib Nurmagomedov. What does he have to do to win this fight against Conor McGregor?
Well, nice of you to remind everybody that Khabib is, in fact, the undefeated world champion, because it's not feeling like this out here in Vegas. I feel like Khabib is not getting his respect. I think he wants it, but that concerns me. That's my point. You asked me what Khabib has to do. He has to go out there and fight. That could sound simple. Errol, in sports and life in general, we see people deal with pressures and we see them choke underneath it. Biggest stage of Khabib's career. He already has the tools. They're proven recipes, from the wrestling, from the grappling, to the experience, to the intangible, which is his pace, a very rare and powerful pace, but he's got to come out and use them.
All right, how about Conor McGregor? What does he have to do to pull off the upset? He's a slight underdog going into this
Listen, Conor needs to take charge right away. Khabib, somewhere in his mind, regardless of that world championship and that undefeated record, somewhere in his mind, he does question, can I deal with this guy? Is what he's saying real? Conor needs to come out. He needs to hit him hard right off the bat, whether it's in the body, whether it's in the head. He needs to take charge. He needs to say, this is my octagon. Get Khabib's respect and get Khabib to start to question himself right out of the gate.
Who wins?
Khabib is going to leave here with the world championship if he performs.
How?
He's going to stop him in the 3rd round TKO, but it'll really be because of pressure.
Cannot wait, Doug. We are counting down the seconds to Conor McGregor's long-awaited, much-anticipated return to the octagon. It's UFC 229 coming up later tonight. His big return fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Gentlemen, thank you. And obviously, you will be there for post-fight coverage as well. We'll be looking forward to all the coverage and reaction. So let's check out the tail of the tape. You saw the guys mention that Conor is, in fact, the underdog, even though he's the brand name, so to speak, to average casual fans. Undefeated Khabib is. And not just that, Zubin, he's never even lost a round in the UFC. McGregor stopping 19 of his 24 opponents in his MMA career. And a 1-inch height disadvantage, I should say. McGregor will have a 4-inch reach advantage over the champ.
The boss of the UFC, President Dana White, is with me right now. So Conor was late to the press conference. Nurmagomedov was a bit perturbed. What do you make of it? It's just a press conference, but these kind of things matter in the fight game. In your estimation, how much will it matter Saturday night?
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think it does. If you really look at what happened in New York, I think that Conor McGregor absolutely got in his head, got in his manager's head, rattled and shook them all in New York. And I thought today was the perfect counterpunch by Khabib. Khabib went out there at 3 o'clock, said, I'm a professional, I'm here to answer questions, and then I'm going to leave. You know, I thought it was played out perfectly by Khabib. It was a little awkward and a little weird for us to, you know, to run the press conference today, but you have to remember these are all mind games that are leading up into tomorrow. Both guys have to cut weight tonight, and the real stare down is tomorrow at the weigh-ins.
When we talk about, you know, cutting weight, how important is that in a fight of this magnitude? Because so much noise has been made. Conor, he's been out of the game for a while, hasn't fought there in almost about 2 years or so. Is he going to make the weight? Is he going to be ready? He looks pretty ready to me. But your thoughts about the importance of just that whole weight issue that these guys have to deal with prior to this fight?
Yeah, that's why I'm so comfortable right now with everything that's going on. It's really calm, and everything's going pretty normal this week. Both guys are on weight, and I think they're both going to have good cuts. It's very important in the fight to have a good cut the night before for your strength, your stamina, your peace of mind, everything. And I loved how Khabib played that today, too. Listen, I'm here. This is my obligation. I'm here. I'm doing what I have to do. Now I'm going to go handle my business and cut weight. I'm not letting this guy hold me up. I'm not waiting on him, and I'm not playing these mind games with him. I thought it was played very well.
Dana White, put this in perspective, how big this fight is, because obviously you're going to have the UFC fans there from all over the place. They will be there. But, I mean, you got somebody like me, Dana White, that called you months ago to let you know I would be there. I can't miss this. This is that big. Put into perspective where this fight ranks amongst the fights that you've overseen throughout your career with the UFC.
Yeah, those are one of the many gauges and you know, telling how big a fight is. When you have all these people that normally don't go to fights and don't call you looking for tickets, start doing it, that's one. But the numbers that are coming in right now are off the charts for this fight. I'll give you one example. We do this thing called UFC Embedded online on YouTube. And Mayweather versus McGregor, the first one that we put out, the first episode, did 800,000 views in 24 hours. The first one for this fight did 1.7 million. I mean, the numbers are, all the numbers that are trending right now for us are so much bigger than Mayweather-McGregor. So I don't know exactly what it means for pay-per-view, but it definitely doesn't suck.
Folks see you. They know you're fond of a lot of your fighters, if not all of them. This situation with Conor McGregor, we know that he's about to fight this man who is 26-0 and clearly is coming to the octagon Saturday night with very bad intentions. How concerned are you, and how concerned should everyone be about Conor McGregor, considering the fact that he's been away for a couple of years and this is the fight that he's taking on in his first fight back in the UFC since Floyd Money Mayweather?
It's the reason he's such a huge superstar. It's the reason people love him. He's the kind of fighter that gets fight fans excited. He takes a 2-year layoff and comes right out of the 2 years after the biggest, nastiest, baddest dude in the world right now. Undefeated. Khabib is 26-0, which is almost impossible to do in this sport, right? But even more importantly, he's never lost a round. So this is a massive fight for Conor McGregor. And if Khabib wins this fight on Saturday, he's one of the greatest of all time. If Conor wins this fight on Saturday, Conor is the biggest superstar in all of sports.
You were explaining why Khabib Nurmagomedov is so potent at 26-0, having not lost a round, with folks worried sick about Conor McGregor's well-being. What makes this guy, Khabib Nurmagomedov, so special?
Yeah, when he gets you down, even great wrestlers have been pinned underneath him and get smashed. They can't get back to their feet. He takes them down at will, and even his striking. There's guys that are great strikers that he's actually outstruck. The other thing that's crazy about him is normally when he comes back to his corner, he talks to me. When he wanted to fight Conor McGregor, he's like, after this, I'm going to smash your boy. I'm going to beat your boy after this and all this stuff. And I'm telling him, hey, let's get through this fight right now. This is while he's fighting. So this guy's very calm, cool, and relaxed in there. He's an absolute beast. It is impossible to go 26-0 in the UFC.
All right, well, give it to me straight, Dana White. How worried are you about your quote-unquote boy, Conor McGregor? Since that's who Khabib called you. He said that's your guy. How worried are you about Conor McGregor in this particular fight?
This is the reason that this fight is so big, and the reason that people are so fired up about this fight. It's two of the best in the world in their prime, fighting when they should be fighting. So anything can happen in this fight. If it stays on its feet, Conor McGregor can absolutely knock Khabib out. If Khabib gets him down on the ground, pins him against the fence, and gets on top of him, maybe Conor doesn't get back up. Anything can happen in this fight. Two of the best in the world. That's what makes it so exciting.
You see this going the whole 5 rounds?
I don't see this going 5 rounds. And I think that it's whoever plays their game. If Conor can keep this fight standing, I absolutely favor Conor. If Khabib has no problem taking him down to the ground and putting him where he wants to, it's hard to bet against Khabib.
So to me, everybody keeps talking about this fight like rather McGregor's going to knock him out early or Khabib's going to take him down and can Conor stop that. Mm-hmm. But to me, one part of this fight no one's really talking about is the jiu-jitsu of McGregor. I think it's very underrated. I think Khabib will take him down. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it's just, is McGregor's jiu-jitsu good enough to get back to his feet and frustrate Khabib? Because we saw at the end of the Alec Quinta fight that he was able to get back up in the later rounds and really gas out Khabib.
Stop right there. I've heard enough from you. Let me tell you why I disagree with you, okay? I don't think it's going to be a war of attrition. I don't think this fight goes past 2 rounds. I think either Khabib gets Conor McGregor down to the mat and mauls him inside of 2 rounds, or Conor knocks him out inside of 2 rounds. I don't think it's going to be a war of attrition. This ain't going 5.
Well, how do you think he would finish him then, Khabib? You think
I think he's going to catch him. I think he's going to catch him coming in. I think if, because that's a big if, because Conor's not even favored. And by the way, there have been some questions about Conor losing weight, his face looking a bit worn and drawn in, how he's not doing what it takes to be in tip-top condition. That's what they're saying about Conor, and that he's too small for Khabib because Khabib walks around at about 180 to 190. I'm saying to you, Conor can't underestimate or dismiss that power, catches Khabib trying to come in because Khabib recognizes he's not going to beat Conor in a striking match, or Khabib successfully takes him down and mauls him to death and finishes him off.
I can see that. To me, if Khabib is beating him, he would have to finish him with a submission. He's got Kimura's.
Look, man, did I say how? I said to you he'd get him down to the mat. Submission or whatever you want to call it. All I'm telling you is it ain't going 5. It ain't going 5. I don't think it's going past 2. That's my personal opinion. And it's going to be submission, knockout, whatever. It's going to end in 2. Somebody's going to go down.
Stephen A., listen, there are times I listen to you and I disagree with your opinion, and there are times when I agree, about 50-50. But I have grown to expect you to always give me a full opinion, and I can't let you do it. Tell me who's going to win the fight. Don't tell me 2 rounds someone's going to win. You're better than that.
Well, you know what
who's
the problem
is?
Time out. You know what the problem is in all seriousness, Robert?
Yes, sir.
I don't know the UFC that well. I've never seen Khabib.
Then give me your opinion.
I think that Conor McGregor is going to catch him coming in, trying to wrestle him. He's going to catch him coming in, and he's going to drop him. But that's wishful thinking. Everybody associated with the UFC that I know is worried about Conor McGregor because they don't think Conor McGregor is at his best. They think that he's been drinking and living the life since he got all that money.
That's what I think. That's what I think. I think he's going. Right. I don't think he prepared properly.
Right. So hold on. So here's the deal. I have no knowledge as to whether he's prepared or not. I say to you, a prepared Conor McGregor catches Nurmagomedov coming in. I say to you, an unprepared Conor McGregor gets wrestled to the ground and get taken out inside of 2 rounds.
All right, you know what, Stephen A. Daddy always told me, if you didn't know the answer, it's okay to tell someone you didn't know it. I appreciate that.
I promise you this, Robert, you ain't going to find anybody in media more honest than me. I'm never going to lie to you about what I feel. I promise you that. I'm going to be real with you on that one. I appreciate the call, though, buddy. Thank you so much. Let's go to Dante. You're live at Stephen A. What's up?
Yeah. Conor McGregor. I really don't. I'll be Conor McGregor. You feel me? It's T-Man.
Stop being ridiculous. Stop that. Don't disrespect him like that. The man is a world champion. He must be doing something right. Come on now. Don't act like that.
It's T-Man. I'm a world champion. You feel me? Conor McGregor is not no world champion.
Hold on. Did you say you're a world champion?
Floyd is the champion.
Well, that's boxing. We're talking UFC.
Floyd to beat Conor McGregor.
Goodbye, man. Have a nice day.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, coming at you as I love to do every weekday. The number to call as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Always a great honor to have my next guest on the line. He's a Hall of Fame executive. Obviously the former executive in Indianapolis as well, primarily there. Of course, he's an NFL analyst extraordinaire for ESPN. The one and only Bill Polian is on the line with yours truly. What's going on, Bill? Good afternoon. How are you, sir? How's everything?
I'm fine, Stephen A. Great to hear your voice.
Always good to talk to you. Let's get right to it. Your former team, the Indianapolis Colts, lost the game on Thursday Night Football to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots last night, 38-24. Andrew Luck cannot beat Tom Brady. He's lost every time against Tom Brady that he has faced him. But there were some unacceptable drops, according to Coach Frank Reich. What were your thoughts about the Indianapolis Colts? First things first.
Well, they probably should have won the game based on how well they played. They're playing with a practice squad receivers because of injury and the fact that the roster was depleted anyway. When Chris Ballard became general manager 2 years ago, the cupboard was bare. The group that succeeded us had taken a championship team and run it into the ground, and there was nothing left. So this is a rebuild. Frank won't say it, and Chris won't say it, but I will. It's a rebuild. Having said that, they were magnificently coached. Andrew is back and better than ever. Probably should have won the game had they caught the ball and not had the inexcusable turnovers. Give the Pats credit for taking advantage of that, as they always do. If you give them gifts, they cash them in, and they don't go to Walmart. They go to Neiman Marcus. So that's what occurred. Now, the good news for the Colts is that on defense, they got some players. Leonard, who's the rookie of the month, in the NFL, was not there because of injury. Jabal Sheard played well. Marcus Hunt is playing better than I've ever seen him play in his career. D'Amico Autry went out early with an injury, but he's a pretty good front guy. Malik Hooker is going to be an excellent safety, and Gathers, who went out with a concussion relatively early in the game, is a good specialist on defense. So they got something to build with on defense. On offense, cupboard's pretty bare. They need a running back. They need 2 wide receivers. They need an offensive tackle. If they can get those guys, and I'm not saying Marvin Harrison, you're not going to find him every day.
That's right.
But if you can get 2 Reggie Waynes and an Edgerrin James, now all of a sudden They're a formidable team.
You know, Bill, I'll settle for all of that. It's rare that I've seen. I'm talking about Ryan Grant, Chester Rogers, Zach Pascal, and rookie running back, Nyheim Hines, and tight end Eric Ebron. Every one of them dropped a pass last night. Five different people dropping passes. I don't think I've ever seen that on an NFL team. Not 5 different guys dropping passes, Bill Polian.
Well, the reason you saw it is because they're not around long on NFL teams when they drop passes like that. Goodbye,
That's
baby.
a good point.
Here's your bus ticket.
No question. Bill Polian right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. What are your thoughts about the New England Patriots now that Julian Edelman is back? I just think that makes them a different team. Not to mention the fact that this kid, Sony Michel, has been running the football effectively, averaging better than 5 yards a carry. You give Bill Belichick somebody to run the football for him and a reliable pass catcher like Julian Edelman. I think you're the New England Patriots that everybody expects you to be. Your thoughts about that?
Well, offensively, I agree. Edelman changes everything because he now takes the double coverage off Gronk, and he can do things after the catch, which really adds to the production and allows Brady to throw those checkdowns when people play deep. Mm-hmm. The Sony Michel is a good addition. If Leonard had been there last night, he would not have had those big breakout runs on the outside zone. That said, he's a good player, and he's going to have a lot of success. So offensively, I think they're probably about as good as they were last year, assuming that Edelman and Gronk can stay healthy. On the defensive side of the ball, totally different story. The coverage of practice squad receivers on the Colts was unacceptable. Guys running open left and right, tight ends open left and right, and Andrew, of course, back and better than ever, delivering laser strikes to them. So that's, by Bill Belichick's standards, absolutely unacceptable. The good news is that Bill will coach them up, and they'll be better. But the lack of talent in the back end is pretty clear.
Before I move on from the subject of the New England and Indianapolis, you keep talking about Andrew Luck back better than ever. Just a couple of weeks ago, we saw Jacoby Brissett throw a Hail Mary, okay? And you had people question whether or not Andrew Luck's arm issues and shoulder issues had been completely resolved. Now, he threw the ball almost 60 times last night, for crying out loud. So that clearly, and last week he threw the ball damn near as much as well. So that doesn't appear to be an issue to question. But I wanted to know what you were making of it, and based on what you're seeing, is there any reason to question the health of Andrew Luck moving forward?
None whatsoever. I was in the locker room after the opening game against Cincinnati, talked with him, listened into his conversation with Chris Ballard. He was upset that they didn't win it because they had a chance to win it at the end, but for a fumble. But he was ecstatic about how he came out of the game and how he felt. He's built on that ever since. I broadcast the game in Philadelphia where the Hail Mary took place. Mm-hmm. It had to be like almost a 70-yard pass. The ball was slippery and wet. Clearly, you're not going to risk him in that kind of a situation. He threw the ball fine that day, and he's thrown over 60 passes the last 2 weeks, and this week on a short week, which, by the way, we've talked about this a lot. That's criminal, but it's here to stay. Bottom line, there's nothing wrong with him.
Bill Polian right here with ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, he brought up Andrew Luck. Threw 53 passes the first game against Cincinnati, 62 last week against Houston, 59 passes last night. So if he's got shoulder issues, I don't know how you can do that. So let's leave it at that. I got to transition because I got to talk about the New York Giants, Bill Polian. I really am interested in knowing what you see. So many people are pointing the finger at Eli Manning. They're saying he's lost it. It's over. He just doesn't have it anymore. On the other hand, you're looking at that offensive line. It's no protection whatsoever. I think it's a strong combination of both. I think the offensive line's absence of, the ability to protect him the way that they should has him looking around for for opposing on rushes as opposed to looking downfield to connect with receivers. And I think it's obviously hampered both him and the offensive line. Your thoughts about Eli Manning and what you're seeing thus far?
Similar. I broadcast the game last week for ESPN Radio in Giant Stadium, and therefore looked at all of the films of the games they'd played up to that point and then saw the game live. Mm-hmm. Number one, offensive line, very, very difficult protection problems. Against, by the way, last week, quite a good rush front from New Orleans. People don't know that. They've improved greatly there. The protection is a problem, and Eli knows it. He's getting rid of the ball. I got this from Stats and Information yesterday because I was interested in knowing, just for informational purposes. He's getting the ball out in 2.5 seconds. That's the second fastest in the league. Mm-hmm. Why? Because he has no confidence that they can protect him. When you got to get it out that quickly, you can't throw it deep. So the idea of throw it deep to Odell depends entirely on protection. They don't have it. Did he miss 2 throws last week? Yes, he did. He missed 2 wide open throws. One was to OBJ. I can't recall who the other one was to. Right. But every quarterback's going to do that. They're not going to be perfect. And he didn't have his tight end last week, which would have helped greatly because that allows him to get the ball out and have a reliable receiver. Eli is about what Eli always has been. And the problem is that fans don't recognize, and let's use Mahomes, who's the other end of the spectrum, just coming into the league as an example. Fans don't realize that not every quarterback can extend plays. Eli cannot. And when you're in the pocket, you must have protection. If you don't have protection, you can't throw the ball down the field. How do you change that? You get it out quickly, which he is doing. The coaches have done that. And then the other way to do that is go to heavy sets and run the ball with the best running back this side of the guy in Dallas in Saquon Barkley. That's how you do it. This is not on Eli. It's on the lack of protection. And this nonsense of they didn't show any heart and they don't have any desire. Odell's frustrated. I understand that. Play wide receiver, Odell. Let Pat Shermer worry about the team psyche.
We're talking about a guy in Eli Manning that has a career of completing 60% of his passes. This year, he's completing 74% of his passes and has only thrown 1 interception in 4 games. So I get where you're coming from on that level. And speaking of Odell Beckham Jr. and what he had to say, I imagine you have a problem with it based on what you just said. Here was my issue with Odell, though. He didn't point any fingers in terms of specific names. He didn't personalize. He talked about the team and how they're not winning football games. Is that a frustration that's understandable, or is it still unacceptable, almost as unacceptable as him naming names?
No, it's understandable. I get it. I understand it. Okay. And if I were Dave Gettleman, and I'm sure Dave he can do a better job than I, but he's probably talked to him about it. Say, hey, it's not about heart. It's not about desire. It's not about buzz. It's about execution. And we're not getting the execution we need up front. That's the bottom line. You don't think we want to get you the ball? We figure we're not crazy, and we understand you're frustrated. Don't worry about it. We're doing everything we can to get it to you. But the idea that they're not trying hard or they don't have enough energy or want to, et cetera, that's not true. But I understand Odell's frustration. Right. He has a right to be frustrated.
Bill Poley, on the other end of the spectrum, like you said, is Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs are rolling. They're going up against the top-rated defense in the Jacksonville Jaguars this weekend. Jalen Ramsey against Tyreek Hill. We've heard them bantering back and forth. I'd like to know what you make of this matchup. More importantly, I really, really want to know, what do you think of what you've seen from Patrick Mahomes? Does he deserve all the hype that he has been receiving?
Well, I normally don't get into hype, as you know.
I know that.
But in this case, he's the real deal. There's no question about that. He's got the arm strength of Dan Marino, the quickness of release of Marino and Favre. He's got the extension ability of Aaron Rodgers. He's got escapability and strength to get out of tackles. You talk about not falling on a quarterback, you better tackle this guy or he'll run right away from you. He ran out of about 5 tackles the other night. And he's got the field vision, presence, and sort of improvisational skills of Favre. So that's pretty high cotton, and I'm a believer. And here's something for fans really to think about now, but please remember it when we get to draft time next year and we're creating the next Messiah who's coming out in the draft. What did Mahomes do for a year? He sat and learned from the all-time quarterback whisperer, Andy Reid, and now look what you've got. There is no substitute for learning professional football without the pressure of having to go out there and play and win and answer to the media every week and do all the things that we heap on these rookie quarterbacks. There is no substitute for staying in the laboratory and learning under Professor Reed. And now he's come out and created this unstoppable monster from incredible talent.
Well, how should the Chicago Bears feel? They moved up in the draft to grab a quarterback. They chose Trubisky out of North Carolina with the number 2 overall pick. Patrick Mahomes was the second quarterback nabbed, picked 10th overall by Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. How should you be feeling if you're the Chicago Bears and you pass up on this guy? I'm asking about the difference between Mahomes and Trubisky, to be clear.
You know, I was talking with a guy the other day and said, hey, I looked at all the Mahomes film and I missed it too. I missed it. I saw wild and crazy throws. I saw incredible arm strength. I saw great release, but I didn't see a finished product. And this gentleman said to me, there are a lot of people like us. The difference is Andy Reid. First of all, Andy saw what he had to work with. He told me that last year before a third of the season was over, and then he worked with him and developed him. This is what great coaching can do. And so you take a guy with incredible talent and you coach him up, and you make him into a real weapon. Now he's going to have some ups and downs. He had some ups and downs in that ball game. Denver probably should have won it actually if Case Keenum hits the wide receiver in stride. But bottom line, if Trubisky had the opportunity to sit for a year, he would have been a heck of a lot better. He's got Nagy to work with him. I think he'll improve. Will he be the same guy as Patrick Mahomes? I don't think God made 2 of those in 1 year, but we'll see.
Wow.
But he's going to get better.
Bill Polian right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Real quick, Bill, before I let you get on out of here, put in a few words. What the hell is going on in Pittsburgh? I mean, the offense doesn't appear to be on the same page. You got a quarterback admitting as much. The secondary is a problem yet again. They're about to go against Atlanta. At least Atlanta has the excuse of a plethora of injuries decimating them on the defensive side of the ball. But with the Pittsburgh Steelers, to me, their season's on the line. They don't win this game against Atlanta this week, and their season is over. What the hell has been going on with Pittsburgh, real quick?
No, Le'Veon Bell on offense, although they're still doing pretty well. They're scoring enough to win. The defense keeps getting worse by the minute. It was bad last year. It was bad in Foxborough the previous year. It was abysmal against Jacksonville last year. Now, granted, no Shazier, and he's not been replaced. And that's you lose a cog like that, it's very difficult to replace him. But the answer is defense.
Bill Polian, always appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. I want you to enjoy this weekend of football, week 5 of the National Football League season. Which game, by the way, are you looking forward to most? More than any other game on the schedule this weekend?
Jets, the Denver at the Jets. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
And I'm going to be glued to the television screen tonight watching the Boston Red Sox play the Bronx Bombers.
Who you picking?
Yankees.
Okay, I was checking Bill Polian. I was worried. I was very nervous. You know how much I value your opinion. If you picked the Red Sox, I was going to be sick. Bill.
I got my Yankee hat on, man. I'm rooting.
I just wanted to make sure. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right, the great Bill Polian, Hall of Famer Bill Polian, NFL analyst extraordinaire for ESPN, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to Stephen A. Back with your calls and more on the Major League Baseball playoffs. You heard Bill Polian talking about my Yankees on week 5 of the NFL season and on Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, UFC lightweight championship on the line. Lots to talk about, and you know I'm here to do just that. So don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.